Today, on the topic of social proof, we got Ask Julia.
You ever notice when a man has a beautiful, gorgeous woman on his arm, suddenly all the other women start paying a lot of attention to him, right? And now he's out there thinking he's turned into some sort of Greek god. And no, she's dating for personality this time. Poor guy.
Okay. It's not exactly how it works because you go ahead and if you try to get with that type of girl, you'll see very, very quickly how complicated it will be for you. Of course, barring the few lowbrow examples that make it very easy for everybody. It's generally not easy to get a girl that's hyper attractive, so naturally there has to be something you're doing that's right, at least as perceived by the masses. So this is never going to change. You have no idea, whatever your name is, Julia, you have no idea. You're just assuming that this guy is being settled for, but how do you actually know this 100%? You're just saying stuff. So let's just move on.
Guy's like, damn, everybody's checking me out. I'm so hot. No, sweetie, sit down. They don't want you. I hate to break it to you. They want to compete.
Of course, here they are, the natural mental gymnastics that take hold. Yes, they're all interested in her. It's about the guy. Please stop coping, okay? He had to do something to get this girl to be in this position in the first place. Girls are typically very, very good when it comes to the negotiations of relationships or dating or whatever it may be. Now, of course, they tend to say that what they're getting is never good enough, which is fair. They wouldn't be with that guy if there was zero reason to be with him. There's always reasons when you look 1, 2, 3 layers deeper. There's always way more than meets the eye. Girls, of course, know this, and this is why they enter into this competition pool, because clearly that guy has something to provide. Naturally, there's an ego fulfillment component to all of this. If she manages to steal that guy from the other girl, then she can tell herself that she is better. But outside of that component, that element alone typically isn't enough to make a girl want to compete, okay? There has to be more substance behind it. So let's just please stop with this cope
with her. Because listen, women are natural strategists. When we see a man with a confident, gorgeous woman on his arm, part of us goes like, what's so special about that?
It's because you know as a girl how hard it is to be in that position. This is why you care. Every girl thinks that her pussy is made of gold and silver. Obviously. Even the OnlyFans girls. It's natural then to project this exact mentality onto every other girl, which is why that guy becomes ever more attractive. It's not that complicated. Stop coping about how it's not the guy. It very clearly is the guy because good guys are rare. All right? Let's just be real.
Guy, is he loaded? Like, why did she choose him? What is he, right? And that's not attraction. It is curiosity mixed with a little competition. Because half the time, when another woman is flirting with a man, knowing that he's full-blown taken, she's not even really into him.
I hate to burst this girl's bubble, but unfortunately, sexuality is attraction, and attraction comes from some level of performance or anxiety. This naturally derives from competition. We are perpetually in a competition whether we admit to it or not. Sexuality is naturally competitive. If you're not sexually competitive, guess what it means? You're likely not sexually attractive. The two go hand in hand. So yes, from a default perspective, she has to be attracted to him at least to some degree, even if she's just trying to check her own position. Sometimes girls will do this too. They'll entertain a conversation with a guy that's taken to check their level. They want to see where they're at. As I tell you guys quite often, sometimes knowing that you can is better than going all the way. Saves you the headache. I'd argue that girls are fully capable of this and more than the average guy.
She is just testing that woman. She wants to see if she can take what another woman has, just to prove that she simply could, okay? Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande. Okay. It's not about love or even attraction at all. It's purely about ego. But the problem is that most of these men, they misread that. And then all of a sudden they think that they're so irresistible that they've unlocked some sort of God mode and they can have whatever woman that they want, right? No, honey, she just wanted to hold the trophy somebody else had for validation. Now, here's where guys fumble. They really start believing the hype. They start chasing the illusion of something bigger and better out there, and they end up losing the real woman that they had, the one who actually made them glow up in the first place. So here's a little reminder for the men. When another woman's flirting with you, knowing that you're in a relationship, they're not chasing you, honey. They are challenging her. And the second that you forget that, you're going to lose both of them.
Okay, so the devil's in the details here because obviously I agree with her to a degree. The issue is, of course, that she's framing it as the girl providing the glow up to the guy. No, this is not how it works. It's not some random fluke. I'm aware that you're trying to frame that this initial girl gave this guy some sort of charity, and now as a result of her charity, he now got a glow up, and now he can get any girl he wants. But that's not how it works. That guy did something right to be in that position to have the opportunity in the first place. Unfortunately, girls aren't quite as charitable as you'd like to frame it. And to finish up the last point, yes, once he's reached a certain level, it'll be way easier to reach that level in the future. And this applies to every other arena of human competition, so why wouldn't it apply here? Hey guys, before we continue, I just want to quickly let you know that I do have a dating course available where I go over all the essential concepts of modern dating. Make sure to check it out. I put the link in the description for you. Let's get back to the video. All right, for this one, we got Abby SZ.
Why are all the men that have girlfriends like the best to talk to? They're so easy, it's so fun, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, like by the way, I have a girlfriend.
Yep.
I feel like the only reason though why they're so easy to talk to is because their wall is down and they don't care like what they're gonna say. Like they're not like, oh, is this like embarrassing to say, or like the way like our conversation goes, like is she gonna judge it?
They don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
Because they're going home to a girl and they're talking to you being like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Have a good time. It doesn't really matter what I say.
If this doesn't indirectly prove the concept of social proof, then I don't know what would. This girl's essentially admitting that guys that have girlfriends are infinitely more attractive than guys that are single. This is typically because guys with girlfriends talk from a position of dominance. Not necessarily intentionally, of course, but because they don't care about the result, it's very easy for them to come off well. A guy that's scarce is rarely going to come off well, because as much as you want to convince yourself that you can play these mental tricks with yourself and play some sort of an act, it's going to be infinitely easier where you don't have that pressure, plus you got that practical experience. There is nothing that can replace that practical experience. Nothing. No amount of videos, no amount of thinking about it will help you.
Idea, because I gotta go home.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe we should all just like channel that.
Have that mindset.
Have that mindset so like guys can start approaching again and like girls can start like allowing it.
Unfortunately, in practical reality, it's never going to be this way. You have to be able to get girls to get more girls. This is how it is. If you have nothing to offer, and I'm not talking just about finances, the only woman that's ever going to be capable of loving you is your mom. All right, and more of a similar topic.
Let's talk about girls that go after men in relationships. Before anyone comes at me with, it's the guy's fault, not the girl's fault. Obviously, the guy is at fault if he's entertaining that. However, it's also the girl's fault if she's aware that he has a girlfriend. If the girl is friends with the girlfriend, that is like a whole new level of foul and fucked up. But even if the girl doesn't know the girlfriend, it's still like, what the hell is wrong with you? The type of girls that go after men in relationships are the girls that are deeply, deeply insecure. They think it's like an achievement to take someone's man and that makes them better than the girlfriend.
I wish this was always true, but unfortunately, it's just not the case. There's a lot of cope surrounding this topic, and I'm not really sure why people are so easily able to compartmentalize certain aspects about sexuality and then not others. For example, as I've already said earlier, sexuality is competitive. We are all, one way or the other, looking for the best person. Now, when it comes to this best person, a lot of people are going to frame it that it's subjective. Unfortunately, even though there are a lot of elements that are subjective, a lot of the elements that people look for are objectively the same when it comes to quality. Even if I list off the most basic examples, such as height, intelligence quotient, attractiveness, people can talk about subjectivity all day long if they want to. Even if you take a guy like Brad Pitt or a girl like Margot Robbie and strip them of their fame and just put them in a vacuum, they're still going to be attractive no matter what. This is just objectively the truth. Naturally, people are going to want to compete for these types of people. This has just always been the case. And no, it doesn't mean their moral character is necessarily better because they're attractive. However, being attracted to somebody isn't just about moral character, and by this point you should understand that. As much as we all want to live in this idealistic world where attractiveness does not matter, it just isn't realistic. As soon as you make the case that attractiveness matters even a little bit, you've now opened Pandora's box. You can never take it back. People are always going to be competitive, so why are we surprised by the fact that some girl is going to try to get some guy that's already in a relationship? This has been happening for thousands of years, and it's never going to change. You don't even have to take my word for it. Go ask any moderately attractive girl how hard it is to find a decent guy, and she'll be the first to tell you that it's almost impossible. I'm not going to get too deep into the subjective or objective reasons why this is the case. I'm just saying the collective experience is this. Because the collective experience is this, are you surprised that girls are going to then compete for the seemingly tiny percentage of guys that they claim exist that are actually attractive. We can talk about idealism and bad morality all day if we choose to, but I feel at some point it gets a little boring because there's no tangible solution in any of that talk. I think we all know deep down on some level what is ideal. It doesn't mean we're going to behave in a way that reflects that idealism. This is why I'd personally rather analyze it from a more humanistic perspective, because at least then I can get some form of logical answer. Instead of always trying to appeal to idealism and pretend like I have no idea why a girl would want to compete with another guy and how I would never do that and blah blah blah, all this boring stuff, you know? It's too played out, if you know what I mean.
Newsflash, if my man can be taken by a random ass chick, I don't want him, you have him, honey. So the girls that...
That's a very masculine perspective. By you saying that, you're essentially saying that he's not that special and not worth defending. But then I have to ask, what makes you so special?
Do this are absolutely the opposite of girls. They make it like a game to get this validation from men that...
You just want comfort, admit it. All you care about is comfort, and this is why you're saying this. It has nothing to do with not being a girl's girl or whatever it is. This is your blatant attempt at trying to shame women into doing what you want so you can entertain comfort with a guy that's going to do exactly what you want him to do. Let's just keep it real here.
In relationships, they also specifically go after men who are with like very attractive women. Their mindset is like, oh, if the boyfriend will go for me instead of her, then that may mean that I'm prettier than her. It's all about boosting their self-esteems, and they just don't give a fuck. They think, oh, because I don't know her, like, it doesn't matter. If that is your mindset, you are literally not a good person. How do you not care that you are literally up an entire relationship? Obviously, it's not all on you. It's on him too, completely. And if you're doing this because you think he actually loves you, oh no, honey. He is gonna start being with you and then cheat on you with the next girl. The way I look at it is, how would you like it if somebody else was doing this to you?
I do find it a little bit ironic that she's complaining about competitive behavior while simultaneously engaging in competitive behavior by putting on all of that makeup to make her look better in public so that she can be more competitive in her pool. Girls don't do makeup exclusively for men. They do it to be more competitive amongst women. So I do find it ironic how she's denouncing one thing while simultaneously engaging in that exact Pandora's box behavior that I mentioned earlier. When you open Pandora's box to sexual competition, which has happened since the dawn of time, it will never be closed and it will never cease to exist. At this point, in my honest opinion, it's better to understand it than it is to cope and say it shouldn't exist. That's all I'm saying.
You. It's entirely morally wrong and just stems from a lack of self-respect and self-esteem issues.
I wish that was always the case. Sometimes it is. A lot of times it's not. I think you're just coping.
Before anybody comes for me, yes, I'm aware that there's some cases where the girl doesn't know that the guy's in a relationship. I'm obviously not talking about that. It's funny though, because while this girl just thinks that she one-upped the girlfriend, oh no, honey, you fully saved that girlfriend so much time. When in reality, the girlfriend's gonna dump his ass, move on with her life, while the girl is still fondling with her insecurities.
I mean, this is the same thing that people always say in every single scenario. Oh, you just saved a bunch of time, and oh, you saved a bunch of time. This is not how it works, and I can say that on both ends. There is a moment where every person, regardless of gender, man and woman, are with somebody that is the best person they're ever going to be with. It's not always immediately clear that that's what happened, but inevitably it always does. Your best bet is to do what you can to hold on to that person, because after that it won't necessarily get any better. If you're greedy, you're inevitably going to get punished, one way or the other.
I will never understand why these girls want a man that is like for someone else. It makes no sense.
Well, I hate to say it, but it's because a man doesn't necessarily belong to a woman. That is just not the way it works. Instinctively, we know that, but we abide by a structure that does not allow that to exist because we fear that it'll create a lot of chaos, which is probably real to some degree.
If you're the girlfriend, absolutely blame the man if he acts on it, but you can also blame the girl too if she knew about you guys. Dump him and move on with your life. And if you're the girl that knew about this, get therapy ASAP. And this is the final makeup look, super natural. Love you guys.
Not even close to natural, but we won't even comment on that. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Make sure to check my links in the description below.